Well, hi everyone. Welcome to another video. My name is Jess. If you are new here, Jess, Jessie, Jessica, whatever you want to call me. Well, not whatever you want to call me. Anyway, so we're starting a new series today, and this is the first video we are doing in this series. And I think I'm going to call them something like Getting Real, because I feel like I need a place monthly, a video where I can talk with you guys on a deeper level about a certain topic. So today's topic is trends. I have had some recent realizations. I'm turning 35 in, oh my gosh, that just sounds weird, wild to say, and weird. Turning 35 actually right this month in January, right around when you're probably seeing this video. Sometimes I think when you hit certain milestone ages, you start to look at things in your life and things around you maybe a little bit differently. And so we're gonna talk about that, some realizations I've had, but we're also gonna talk about the fun, juicy stuff about trends. I asked you guys on my Instagram, which is it's Jessica Braun, if you wanna hang with me over there. I'm on my Instagram stories all of the time if you want to see more behind the scenes, just chatting. But I asked you guys what trends you were excited about that you've heard are coming back or whatever, and then which ones are you so glad are leaving or you wish would leave. It was so much fun reading through your guys' responses. Many of them made me laugh out loud. So many of them I totally agree with you, and some of them I disagree with you guys on, so I'm excited to dive into that. So let's start with the trends that are in right now that you guys are super into. And I'll kind of share my thoughts as we go. All right, let's start with the trends that you are excited to see come back that we are loving. So first one, I love starting with this one, being real. I definitely have felt this shift. I was just telling Tyler about it the other day. I feel like this year and next year are gonna be the years where we're all trying to be a little more authentic and a little more honest. I think, not that all of us collectively as a population haven't been, but I think we're all so tired, myself included, and I know I'm on the internet and you're only seeing a highlight reel as well of my life. But I know I personally am so tired of like perfectly produced things, or not even that they're perfectly produced, whether it's like video, short form content, TikTok, whatever, but just things that I don't know aren't necessarily real or authentic. And then on the other side of that, things that like, I'm guilty of this too, not really sharing how I feel about something and worrying that I'm gonna offend someone, even when we're talking about something innocuous. I'm not talking about big, deep things. I'm talking about things that aren't offensive, but like someone might read what I said a different way and then run with that. I think being someone on the internet, it can be really, really hard to toe that line of like, how much do I share? How much do I not share? What do I hold back? And I definitely lean towards holding back more, even though I do share a lot here on my channel. But I think this is going to be the year of being more real. And like, I want to share more with you guys about my thoughts and feelings on things without worrying so much about what someone else thinks, because the reality is, what I think is what I think, and me sharing something doesn't mean I'm asking everyone else to think the same thing as me. But I think I'm tired, and I think a lot of us are so tired of like dancing around certain things. Like, I'm tired of it. So that is one of my goals in my mind this year. I don't think I mentioned it in my reflections video on 2023, but I definitely have been thinking about that a lot the past week, and that is something I want to work towards. So I don't even know if that's what you meant by saying being real, but I agree. I think it is more in now. I think more people are trying to be more real, and I am into it. And on that side, like, then that means I need to be less judgmental and offended if someone has a differing opinion from me. And I definitely think I've come a long way with that, but I have room to grow. So if I'm watching someone and they say something that I don't perfectly agree with, and again, I'm not talking about obviously highly offensive things. That's not what I'm talking about. But just general other life stuff, I need to learn to let that go and see that all of us as humans are well-rounded. It's not the right word, but we have so many facets to us. And one opinion we have doesn't mean I negate a person completely because I don't agree with that one thing they said that one time. Does that make sense? And again, we're not talking about big label, like highly offensive things. Not that. Okay, we are also into flare pants, but I'm not giving up my skinny ones either. The general consensus from you guys, and I agree with this too, is that it's been a little bit more fun to feel free with Like, let's take pants. I know this is so silly, but let's take pants, for example, because it's like the perfect example. Because for the longest time, you know, a few years ago, everyone's like, skinny jeans are out. And I'm like, well, now hold on. Hold on now. I finally found skinny jeans that fit. I'm not giving them up anytime soon. But I think a lot of us are just kind of at that point where you're like, it doesn't really matter. And that we'll talk about at the end of the video too. I agree. I think the idea that flare pants are in is really exciting because I personally love flare pants. That's what I was wearing all through high school, into college, I would say. I'm trying to even think, like, what was I wearing in college? Well, I know in the evening we were in like sparkly shirts. Like that was the thing. I'm sure that is coming back too. But yeah, I'm excited. Baggy pants was another thing a lot of people brought up on the opposite end, but a few people brought up on this end that you were excited that baggier pants are back. I think it just depends on how you feel that you look in whatever style of pants. Because I definitely feel like the pants I'm wearing right now are, well, here, I'll kind of try to show you. So you can see they're from, I will link them. I love them. American Eagle. They've got like the little bit of like cargo pantage. They're a little bit loose all the way to the bottom, but they're not overly loose and they're tight right where I need them, where they're not so loose everywhere. Do you know what I'm saying? So for me, and the way I like to look, like when I look in the mirror, I like this style, but I think any baggier, I wouldn't be a huge fan. Although I do have those one pair of pants that are like super wide. Those are kind of fun too, but those are almost like tight than wide. And so I feel like it's not quite the same as like the big jeans. You know what I'm talking about. I certainly do not like the way I look in them, but then I'll see other people and I'm like, oh, that's cute, but they're usually like 17. And I'm like, well, I feel like everything's cute on a 17-year-old, you know? Anyway, we are excited for streamlining and simplifying our skincare routine. Yes, I'm so into this. I love skincare, and I actually have a video planned in a few weeks sharing my kind of updated skincare stuff I'm using, my routine. But when I look back at my routine from 5 or 6 years ago, it was so complicated. And I remember some of you guys asking like, share your skincare routine. And I felt like, I don't know how. There's so many steps and I think I'm doing them in the right order and, you know, that I didn't feel comfortable even sharing it because it was so complicated. Now, I still feel like I probably use a few too many products, but I love all of them and I switch off like which night I'm doing it and I'm kind of in a groove. And so I think simplifying and not using so many different products is probably better for our skin. I know I'm gonna have someone losing their mind like, no, absolutely not. You need a 14-step. You do you. If it works for you, go for it. But I definitely feel like when I was using a lot of exfoliants and a lot of, like, I had all kinds of actives and things, and I was doing them the right way where I wasn't doing them on the same night and XYZ, but even still, I felt like my skin wasn't its best. And when I really pulled back and simplified how many products I was using, my skin looked so much better. So I think finding the ones that work for you, that's the key. Uggs, but I never let them go. Yes, I'm glad Uggs are back too. The pair I wore here today are literally my pair that I have had for years, and those replaced a pair I'd had before. Like, I never gave them up because the reality is, like, especially if you live in a climate where it's cold, there are times where you want a really nice, warm, comfy boot, but you're not necessarily in the snow. Like, there's many days where I live in the Midwest, it's not snowy, it's just bitter cold. So Uggs in the snow, I don't think is as ideal. I have like regular boots for that, but you know what I'm saying. I love them. I did a year ago buy those really low Ugg boots and they looked so silly on me. I returned them right away, but I like the idea of the lower cut, but I'm talking about the ones that literally barely came to your ankle, not the ones that are a little higher. Anyway, didn't like those, did not even keep my feet warm. That didn't work. Although I'm now realizing I have a pair that are similar, but they're different. They're more like slippers is what they are. Anyways, ballet flats. Yes, same thing. I never let those go either. I think once I stopped wearing heels so often, like I'll put on heels if we're going on a nice date night and the weather's just right, and like everything has to line up just right for me to wear heels. And I have one pair and they are black. They go with everything and it's perfect. But ballet flats, there's so many different versions of them. I love a pointed toe. I think they're just cute. They're cute with jeans. They're cute with dresses. They're cute with shorts. They have always been one of those pieces in my wardrobe that are versatile, especially a nice pair of black ones that I've just always worn them. So I'm thrilled that they're back. I mean, I love this one. Books and reading. This is definitely something I have noticed as well, both in myself. Like the past 5 years, I have started reading so much and I love it. I mean, I just started a new audiobook today. I'm going to be talking more about books here on my channel as well this year. It's just become such a passion of mine. And if you'd asked me, I liked reading all growing up, but I was never like a reader. You know what I mean? Like I did fine in reading class, but I was not someone that was reading for fun. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. And so it wasn't until adulthood that I started to read for fun. And now I genuinely cannot imagine not being in the middle of a book. I just can't imagine it. And everyone I know reads. I was just talking to a friend today. We're starting a little book club and I'm so excited about that too. But yeah, it's cool to read now. How funny is that? Like me, again, in high school and college, like it was not cool to be a reader. And it's so funny that everyone is doing it. I think that is so rad. That means we're all, you know, you hope you're learning more. I mean, depends on what you read, I guess, but I love books. I'm thrilled to see that everyone else does too. Have you guys noticed, this is one I'm adding in, how much perfumes have become popular? Perfumes have always been popular. You know what I mean? Like people have always worn perfume, but there's something about like the past year where I'm seeing so many creators that I follow change their whole channel to just be fragrance. I find that fascinating. I love perfume. I would never be a perfume channel. I don't know enough, but I definitely have favorites, and I probably should talk about that in a video soon too. All my favorites, because there's just some good new ones that are out. But regardless, I feel like there's a movement towards perfume. Also, body mist. That is definitely something that is back, and it just makes me think of Bath & Body Works / Claire's / no, that's about it. But it just, Victoria's Secret, like love spell vibes. But the Sol de Janeiro ones that are super popular, by the way, the best one is number 68. That smells so good. I think it's fun. It's one of those things that's what I sprayed on today. It's not gonna last you all day, but sometimes midday, I'm just like, just want a little spritz. Or maybe you worked out and you freshened up, but you got a couple more hours of your day left. Give it a little spritz. Like I don't know. I'm really appreciating body mist for what it is. It's never gonna really compete with perfume in longevity, but it's got its moments, you know? Can you tell I'm excited to be filming? It's been a minute since I've just sat down and filmed. By the way, if you're curious, I'm in our workspace, like filming area, etc. The furniture still needs to be built for what's gonna be behind me, which is why it looks like I'm taking a passport photo. This would be the perfect wall for it. It will eventually be built. Tyler hopefully is actually gonna build it tomorrow or the next day. So hopefully I'll be filming in a new setup soon. But for now, we're just in front of a wall and a door. All right, let's talk about what we're a little tired of, okay? Either trends that are coming back now that you're like, no, hate it. Or they're ones that you're like, can we please stop? Can we move on? That kind of thing. I'm gonna start with my favorite one. The need to name every single aesthetic. Mob wife, coastal cowgirl, ballet core, coastal grandma, I'll throw that one in there. It's a lot, right? Like, and the reality is it's all in good fun. Like, it's not harming anyone, but there is a slight annoyance for me. I just recently heard about the mob wife one, and literally as I was putting on this animal print shirt, I was like, it's kind of, I mean, it's not at all, but I'm like, oh yeah, like animal print would be part of that aesthetic. Like, gosh. It's just kind of funny at this point that to kind of piggyback on that, the, latte makeup trend, which I totally did a video of, but the latte makeup trend, strawberry girl makeup, icy snow queen, whatever they called it, you know what I mean? Naming everything. The reality is, in my head, I know it's online publishers that are naming things, or like someone does well doing something like that on Instagram or TikTok, and so then other people, they need that name so that they can do their own version, and then it gets found through the algorithm. Like, there's a reason all of these aesthetics are being named, right? Like, but it is kind of like, okay. Mob wife aesthetic. Yes, using a million skincare items and overcomplicating the routine kind of ties back to what we talked about before. Excessive blush. So I understand, but I also totally love blush. Like, I totally love it, but there's definitely been a trend where like over blushing is a thing, and the blush on the nose, the blush right under the eyes, like the blush really high up. it's kind of to each their own, but it's definitely had a moment where you scroll your feed and I feel like everything I'm seeing is bright pink blush really high up. I've been raising where I put my blush lately too, and I've been enjoying it, but I don't know that this would always be what I'm doing. I don't know. It's also a face shape thing too. I don't know enough to say more, but like it's definitely a face shape thing, like where it would look best. Fake freckles. I've spent years trying to love mine only for people to draw them on. I do find the fake freckle thing fascinating. I am a freckly gal. You can see it when I'm, gosh, in this lighting, my neck does not match my face. But anyway, ignoring that, can you see my freckies? Anyway, I definitely have freckles, and yeah, I feel like so much of my life I've wanted to hide them or not have them. And so watching people draw them on, I'm like, this is interesting. I like to think it's like if you were someone that was born with beautiful red hair, and if you felt like you wished you didn't have red hair, now everyone is dyeing their hair red. There's got to be the party that's looking back like, huh. Do you know what I mean? Or like for me, I have naturally curly-ish, wavy-ish hair, and all my life I wanted straight hair. Now a lot of people are trying to achieve like a, you know, this kind of look, and I'm like, huh. This is interesting. You know what I mean? Makes you appreciate whatever God gave you, you know? I'm just saying. All the excessive tapping on packaging during reels. Yeah. Yeah. And I can be guilty of that. Like if I'm doing it to clutter, I don't think it's excessive, but I can definitely find myself doing it from time to time. But I mean, there are some people I follow that I'm like, oh my gosh. Like they literally will be like, and this. And I'm like, what are we doing? Like if aliens from 200 years from now like came back, or maybe even just people in the future 200 years from now and were watching what we were doing, they'd be like, what were we thinking? Like, why were we into this? Why were we doing this? Or I guess I should say someone like 200 years ago looking at what we're doing now. Okay, the brows that are combed straight up. I would say 40% of the responses I got were about brows being straight up. I found that fascinating. This is not something that bothers me. First of all, brows are so personal. So I just think it's so personal what you like, what you don't like. But I do find it interesting that so many people are bothered by that. Like bothered. I don't really know what else to say. Like I can understand that. Like on myself, I've tried that like kind of undone straight up and I'm like, oh, absolutely not. Looks terrible on me. But then you see it on some people and you're like, okay, that actually looks really good. So to each their own, baby. I guess that's the theme of the video, but you know. I take offense to this. Slicked back hair. I got a lot of comments with this too. Both pro and con, like for and against. My thing is when my hair is dirty, I will be slicking it back into a bun. Thank you so much. My hair is dirty. It needs to be done. Nothing else can be done with it. Therefore, the slicked back bun. But I know a lot of people were going into like, you have to use so much product to achieve that look. I guess it would depend. Like for me, if I'm doing it, I'm not putting extra product in it. I'm just kind of brushing it back, putting it in the bun. I might put a little hairspray, maybe. But I know what they're talking about. Like the people that are like really combing it back, it's probably damaging their hair. They've got gels and creams and whatever in there to like really get it slick. But I'm just saying, like that's never going away from me. That is a hairstyle that will forever be a part of my life. Low-rise jeans, overly baggy everything, all the worst 90s and 2000s fashion. Yeah, I will say the early 2000s were a rough time for fashion. I remember even in the moment being like, none of this is cute. But it was cool. And watching some of that come back, I'm like, oh my. Like, I don't even know how to feel. It stirs this weird emotion in me. That's like, first of all, how am I old enough to be watching this be recycled? But two, what? Not these. These were the ugliest. This was the ugliest era for fashion. Perfectionism on social media. That will be the topic of most likely my next Getting Real video in this series. Stay tuned. I already started typing notes for this, and thank you to the one that submitted this, because that is literally, I typed it when I saw that. I was like, oh my gosh, and my brain started going. I'm like, oh, I could do a whole video on that. So I will. Stanley cups. Team Awala for this girl. Okay. The Stanley cup craze is crazy. We all agree. I mean, I have one Stanley cup. It was expensive. I love it. I used it for like a year and a half, but I did get to the point where I was like, okay, maybe this is too big. Maybe it's inconvenient because I can't like put it in my bag. It's going to spill everywhere. It doesn't fit in every cup holder in my car, and that drives me nuts. So I finally tried the Owala one. You guys know I love it. I talk about all the time because you can, there's a straw. You can also, you can shut it. You can hold it. You can throw it in your bag. Like 10 out of 10, and it's like half the price of a Stanley. Yeah, like this recent Stanley craze with like the pink one, and it is very cute. I totally get it. But it's just so interesting. You know, what a weird time we're living in. What a weird time we're living in. I don't know what else to say. But I'm always amazed when people own a lot of Stanley cups. All I'm doing is like adding up what they spent. I'm like, oh my gosh, you spent $500 on Stanley cups. Ugh. Oh, that's another. See, you guys are giving me so many great ideas for this series. I can't believe I didn't start this series sooner. This made me laugh out loud. Big dumb hats. What did you mean by that? They are done with big dumb hats. So my first instinct was like the bucket hats. I'm like, maybe that's what they meant. I don't know. Bucket hats are an interesting trend to me. And they've been around now for like, they've been in for a couple years. Maybe they're out now. I don't know. But yeah, that's one I struggle to get behind. And I don't know that I've ever seen anyone look cute in a bucket hat. Maybe 2 people I've ever seen. So that's an interesting one. It just makes me think of me being on vacation, sunburned in Florida as a kid. I was wearing a bucket hat. Like that is the era I'm thinking of. Big dumb hats. I just love it. Oh man, okay. Quite a few of you guys are over short form content. That made me smile. And here I am making a goal to try to do more short form content. I'm still doing long form just as much, maybe more this year than I was. But yeah, I get it though. I totally get it. Okay, so let's get into the time of the video where I share my thoughts on trends. Like I shared my thoughts on specific trends, but I feel like I am definitely someone that I'm always interested in what is trending, what's cool. I don't know if that's something that stems from just when you're younger and you're literally around other kids in school and you're trying to see like what's cool. Someone's making fun of someone for wearing that, so I don't want to wear that. Like all of those kinds of things you do as an adolescent. And it's almost survival. You know what I mean? You're trying to survive being in a friend group. Like, ugh, adolescence is so hard. Woof. Like, would never want to go back. And I think that a lot of us, we bring that into our adulthood. We still think in those same ways when the reality is generally no one really cares what you're wearing. No one really cares. And to be honest, a lot of the times I'm most impressed when I'm hanging out with someone or I see someone that's wearing something different than what's trending, because usually it stands out to me and I'm like, ooh, like, oh, that's cute. Like I've never would have thought of that necklace. It's not something that I see everyone wearing. Like, oh, that's unique. And I think when we really think about trends, what we're working against is uniqueness, right? Like by joining these trends, we're losing in a sense, and I'm being overdramatic, but we're losing in a sense our own unique flavor to things. And one thing I was thinking about a couple months ago was with like Ugg boots or like Ugg slippers, whatever, shoes. There's one kind of Ugg shoes, because they're not the boots, that are really, really popular. And I have a pair that's similar, but it's not the same, but I love them. But even in my mind, I would see the one that's really popular when I would scroll Instagram and I'm like, I should have gotten that pair. Like maybe I could like resell that one pair and get the other. And I had to stop myself because I'm like, Jessica, what are you doing? You like that pair. Who cares if this other pair is more trendy, cool, everyone else is wearing it? If you like something, that should be all that matters. Period. That should be all that matters. But we just live in such a weird society and we're all inundated with, did I say that word fully? Inundated with what's cool, what's trending. You know, everyone's wearing the same kind of stuff. And so I could do a whole video on this too, but just talking about trying to get back to that unique sense of self that I think we've lost in the social media era. Not everyone, but like most of us, right? And it's not to say I'm not going to participate in trends. I still find this fun. I'm fascinated by talking about it. I do find certain trends cute that I'm like, ooh, that's fun. I want to try. It's outside of what I normally do when it comes to like makeup or skincare or jewelry, whatever. So I don't think there's something inherently terribly wrong with following trends and trying new things. But I think it's just important for us to be able to take that step back and think like, okay, but do I even like this trend, right? Like, do I like the baggy pant trend? No, then I'm not going to work tirelessly to try to find one pair of baggy pants that fit me, because who cares? Like, no one around me cares if I'm following the baggy pant trend. Like, that's ridiculous. So I am sure some of you guys are watching this video and you were like, Jessica, this all went above my head. Like, I've never followed trends. I don't care. I haven't even heard about some of these trends. I think that's awesome. I really do. I think that's awesome. But I just thought it was an interesting topic to kind of lean into and chat about a bit in today's video. So I hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you're excited for this series. I personally am. I just really am. If you have topic ideas that you want me to talk about, like I said, I've started my list. I'm checking it twice. I'm getting it in the order I want it. But like I said, I'm planning on doing this at least once a month, because this may turn into one of my favorite videos that I do. And I hope you really enjoy it too. Give them a try. And if you did enjoy it, please give this video a thumbs up. Let me know you liked it by commenting below your thoughts on trends. Whether it's what you think is in and out, what you're into, what you're not, maybe just your thoughts on trends in general and what that kind of says about us as a society. Ooh, I would totally, wouldn't you take a college course on like trends? Wouldn't that be fascinating? Oh my gosh. Any of this kind of stuff is so fascinating. Oh, I just thought of another video idea. Oh my gosh. Okay. I gotta write these all down before they like leave my brain. I love you all so much. I hope you'll subscribe, stick around for more videos like this. If you are new and you just watch this video for funsies, I do vlogs all the time, sharing bits of my life. I am a mom of 2, so I share bits about that as well. And then I do beauty, skincare, fashion content. I kind of just do it all. It's my channel, so I just do what I want. I hope you're cool with that. Anyway, love you guys, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.